Hello. This is kind of a different kind of video than I'm used to making. Uh, but I felt that I really did want to make a video expressing my thoughts with the currently ongoing situation, I suppose, with Star Wars theory. Um, God, I feel like this all makes it sound a lot more serious than like it actually is. Um, but I just want to clarify. I'll start up top with, obviously, if you've seen the other content on my channel, you probably know that I really like Star Wars. I really like EFAP. I was a big fan of Stargrift. Um, and I've watched Star Wars Theory for a long time. Now, I've never been a super big fan of Star Wars Theory. I've been a fan, I own several Theory sabers. Um, but I'm not gonna say that, oh, I've always agreed with every one of his opinions, because, I haven't, and that's fine. We can disagree on stuff. But I've always liked Theory for giving basically his honest takes, even with, how dumb they can be sometimes. It's just him being genuine. And I want to address his recent announcement that he won't be covering Andor Season 2. Now, I want to say right off the bat, with how he's been covering the show, I think that's probably a good move. That if he intends to just cover the show, not taking it as it is, but just getting upset that it's not what he wants it to be, then sure, yeah, cover other things. I don't care, right? If anything, that's for the better. But I want to address his reasoning as to why. Because as much as I love Theory for being genuine, I do think that this is a case of him being disingenuous. Now, I don't think it's intentionally. I think that obviously he is very biased to, I don't want to say cover himself, to essentially, he wouldn't think the things that he does if he thought they were incorrect, right? So he's got that natural built-in bias that we all do to try and justify your own opinions, and it's why just admitting that you were wrong can be so hard for anyone. But, Theory's upset because he, as he says in his own video, he thinks that anytime he has a take with this show, he just gets shat on by the internet. And it's like, well, okay, but here's the thing, though, is that, the two big times that it's happened are, 3 years ago when the show concluded, and Theory said that, well, there shouldn't be bricks and screws in Star Wars. This isn't Star Wars. Star Wars doesn't have bricks and screws in there. George Lucas said that there were no bricks and screws in Star Wars. Now, to this day, I have yet to see a single source for that quote of George Lucas's. Even in Theory's video, saying that he's not going to cover Andor, he just goes, oh, well, maybe people haven't seen all the behind-the-scenes stuff like I have. And it's like, dude, really? I'd love to know where that quote comes from. I really would. But, I don't think it exists, because there are bricks and screws in Star Wars. There are numerous examples throughout the 6 films that George Lucas made of bricks and screws in Star Wars. So even if George said that, he clearly didn't stand by it. So it seems like a really weird example. And so this is what I mean, where I don't think people are attacking Theory because he doesn't like Andor, right? It's like, you know, where were all the people attacking Theory because he didn't like the Acolyte, right? It's like, oh, well, it was the popular opinion that, like, the Acolyte sucked, right? And it's like, oh, well, what about, like, other bad projects, like Ahsoka? Where are all the people attacking Theory for liking Ahsoka? It's like, oh, like, they're few and far between. It's like, I don't really think it's about anyone caring if he likes or doesn't like a show. It's about the fact that he said something and he was wrong. Like, so yeah, people are going to point that out. When you say stupid shit, expect people to call you out on it. And like with the whole news situation of, oh, well, sexual assault doesn't belong in Star Wars. It's like, well, but George literally put it in there, so I don't know, like, what do you mean? And it's really weird when Theory keeps saying that, like, oh, well, maybe they just should have implied that something happened. When it's like, but nothing did happen. Like, it's an attempted rape, right? It, like, the whole point is that she, like, Bix does not allow it to happen. Like, that's the whole point. It doesn't happen. Like, it doesn't get very graphic. Like, the most that you could say it was explicit was the fact that she called it rape. And it's like, well, yeah, like, we probably should call it rape. Right? Like, it would be really weird if in, say, Revenge of the Sith, right? If Obi-Wan's telling Padme that, like, I saw a security recording of him slurpoing younglings. Like, it's like, no, you need to have the word kill in there. It's like, kill can be a bit harsh for children, but, like, why would we want to change the word there? Like, what if he said, like, oh, I saw him disposing of younglings? It's like, what does that mean? Like, sometimes words are really important that we use the actual word, and I think rape is absolutely one of those words. And so it's like, you've given two examples, like, your two big controversies with Andor have been, there shouldn't be bricks and screws in Star Wars, and there shouldn't be sexual assault in Star Wars. It's like, well, so all three of those things are things that George Lucas put in Star Wars. So how can you sit there and go, oh, well, it's not Star Wars because it has things that George wouldn't put in there? When it's like, but you're wrong, though. You are just literally wrong. George Lucas did put those things in Star Wars. Like, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm tired of Theory saying that, oh, like, Andor fans are just so elitist. It's like, sure, I get it. Some people can be, especially on, like, Twitter. Like, I'm sorry, but there are a lot of, like, on both sides, there are a lot of fucking dumbass takes about, oh, well, like, this is clearly a, like, allegory for whatever political position, and that's great, or that's bad, when it's like, it's literally like, I don't know, man, how far back in time can we go, and there are still stories about the same thing. Like, sorry, but, because it's one of the things that they've said in the press interviews about how they wrote it to be a story that would have been appreciated 100 years ago and will be appreciated in 100 years from now. It's not about current day politics. Stop trying to make it about that. Like, there are a lot of dumbass takes about that. But, like, it's really dumb to call Andor fans the elitist ones when the second that bricks and screws show up, you go, oh, it's not Star Wars. The second that sexual assault shows up, oh, that's not Star Wars. This show isn't Star Wars. It's like, well, what do you mean? Like, do you mean it's not Star Wars because you think George Lucas wouldn't approve of it? which is really weird considering that it's like, well, so, like, it seems like out of the movies Disney has made, the only one that we really know George Lucas actually praised was Rogue One, where he gave a 45-minute phone call to Tony Gilroy, like, telling him how much he loved the film. I don't know, it's like, oh, okay. But, like, what about Ahsoka? Like, we know from Dave Filoni that George has said Ahsoka dies, either before Order 66 or during it, that she doesn't live on. And then Dave Filoni decided, well, since George isn't part of the company anymore, I'm gonna, like, make it so that Ahsoka lives to 100. Like, she's gonna live all the way through the OT and the sequels. Like, you know, I find it to be incredibly funny that after Rise of Skywalker came out, you got that interview where somebody asked Dave Filoni, like, oh, well, we heard Ahsoka's voice is one of the, like, ghosts that talked to Rey. And he was like, well, she could have just been speaking out through the Force. Like, we don't know that she's dead. And it's like, dude, fucking come on. Like, this is a character that you've killed and resurrected 3 times now. Like, at least 3 times. You know? It's like, come on, man. Like, you know? But no, like, we're not gonna claim that Ahsoka isn't Star Wars. I was like, for the record, I think the is it or is it not Star Wars argument is just stupid entirely. Like, it is a part of the IP. Like, you know, whether it's good or bad, it is a part of the IP. It is Star Wars. Why don't we just call it out for being good or bad? Right? Rather than just saying, oh, well, it's not Star Wars. You know, because it's the stupid shit that, like, TLJ defenders pulled. Where they went, oh, well, TLJ is a good movie. It's just not a good Star Wars movie. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, you know, like, that just means that you're trying to say something, like, you know, I hate the argument because it just is a way of pivoting around, like, oh, well, I don't want to call it bad, but, like, you know, if you look at it a certain lens, then, like, maybe we can get close to calling it not something else, right? It's a lot like the art argument where a lot of people will just see something bad and they'll go, oh, well, that's not art. It's like, it is. Like, you know, stop. Like, I get it. You don't think there's much artistic merit to it, but, like, it is art. So maybe don't just call it bad. Like, have the balls to just call it bad. But yeah, and like, one of the other things that I do want to address that Theory said, that again, I feel is very disingenuous, is him saying that Tony Gilroy is not a Star Wars fan. Because it's like, well, so there are 2 quotes that people, like, run with from that. One was an interview where Tony Gilroy described himself as not a fan of Star Wars, meaning that he had to look stuff up on Wikipedia, which it's like, well, that's a lot better than what, I don't know, Dave Filoni does, where Dave Filoni forgets half the shit that he fucking wrote before he writes a new thing. Like, Dave Filoni didn't remember or didn't think about the fact that if Mando was rescued by Death Watch and grew up as part of this, like, super, like, Mando cult, that it's like, really, he wouldn't know who Bo-Katan is? Like, the second in command of Death Watch, the fucking sister to the queen of the Mandalorians? It's like, really, like, he wouldn't, or the Duchess of the Mandalorians, like, he wouldn't know who that was? Come on. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's good that Tony Gilroy looked shit up. That's what we want writers to do. We want them to look it up. And then the other quote that people go, look, Tony Gilroy said that he wasn't a fan of Star Wars. It's like, well, yeah, he did say that in an interview about him coming on to Rogue One, where he expressed that he wasn't that, because he says, I'm not a fan, or I wasn't a fan. I didn't hate them, But, I just never really got into it. Like, that's the gist of what he says in that interview. So I think it is really disingenuous to go, oh, see, like, he doesn't like Star Wars, so, why would we let a guy who hates Star Wars make it? It's like, well, for someone who supposedly hates Star Wars, he's done a pretty fucking good job at making Star Wars. So, but it's like, that's not what he said, though. So why don't we actually take what he actually said at face value, rather than, like, digging in and going, oh, well, if I take this one little quote, then I can make it about whatever I want. It's like, no, that's disingenuous, and it sucks. And so, honestly, that's my thing with this whole situation, is that I think it's stupid, right? Like, I don't want this to seem like this, like, really big situation, because it's like, at the end of the day, we're all fucking nerds on the internet talking about Star Wars, right? Like, it doesn't really fucking matter. But it's like, as someone who has been a fan of Star Wars theory for his, like, integrity, for, like, his genuineness, I guess, like, it really does just sort of disappoint me to see him being disingenuous at this point. Like, and again, I don't think it's an intentional thing. Like, I don't think that Star Wars theory gets up in the morning and goes, oh, how can I lie about Andor today? Like, it's like, I don't think it's that. But, it's like, I do think that it is just sort of a case of, well, like, he's been so conditioned to, like, listen to the keys jangling and look for the things that he recognizes. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious if you watch his season 1 coverage that, like, episode 4, he's super into Andor. Oh my god, they just mentioned Sly Moore. Like, I can't wait to see where this goes. And then episode 5, they say that like, dinner party happened, and he didn't get to see Sly Moore, and so he was disappointed. And it's like, that's totally valid to be kind of upset that, like, you didn't see something that you got excited to see. But at the same time, it's like, what would Sly Moore's role even have been? Like, she's not gonna just start talking about at the dinner party, oh yeah, by the way, my boss, he's been teaching me, like, dark magic and cloning, secrets only the Sith knew. Like, it's like, that's just not gonna happen. Like, you just see her, and that would be it. And you wouldn't learn anything from that dinner party, because in the scene where she's mentioned, they tell us exactly how that dinner party would play out. That Mon Mothma is basically just gonna sit there and be quiet while Perrin has, like, fun getting drunk with his friends. It's like, that's it. Like, that's all that would happen. So we didn't need to see that scene. So I don't know, man. Like, I'm getting real tired of, like, hearing Theory complain that, oh, I can't see the keys jingling. I don't see the things that I recognize. When it's like, well, I'm sorry, but Tony Gilroy chose to take the keys and start the car so that we can actually go somewhere. Like, he's telling a story with purpose. That was clear from season 1, and I'm, like, willing to bet that will be clear from season 2 by the end of this. And so, yeah, that's it, really. That's my thoughts on this whole situation. Again, I don't think this is a really big deal. I don't think that people should go, like, blast Theory or anything. Like, please just, like, behave yourselves on the internet. But I just, I wanted to get my thoughts out there. Hopefully some other people share them or understand them. hopefully I'm not alone on this issue, I suppose. But yeah, I don't care if Theory covers Andor or not. Like, it would be nice to get another opinion on the show. You know, I do like hearing, even if they're wrong, like, you know, a multitude of opinions on the show. It's one thing that's kind of nice about having Theory cover a Star Wars show, is that it's like, well, like, maybe not necessarily in the initial reaction, but like, if afterwards, like, he'll give genuine, honest takes about it, whether they're right or wrong. Like, he will give honest takes about it, which is a lot better than a lot of other Star Wars channels that, you know, as much as I like Andor, I fucking hate hearing from the people that praised the Acolyte that, oh yeah, well, Andor's super good. It's like, well, you don't really have a scale. Like, your scale is just everything's out there on the 8 to 10 range, right? Nothing falls between 1 to 7. It's like, I don't care at that point. Your scale is broken. Which is something that I feel Theory did a better job at a lot of the time. Now, a lot of the time he would still put things at the very high end of the scale, even if they deserve to be at the lower end of the scale. But he wouldn't just do it because, oh, it's Star Wars and I love Star Wars and I want to go on the press tours and stuff. Like, you know, he did it because that's how he genuinely felt, right or wrong. So, like, that's what I appreciated about his channel, and I feel like he's being a little unintentionally disingenuous in this whole situation. But, so yeah, those are my thoughts on it. I'm gonna actually end the video this time, because I've tried to do that several times and haven't. So, yeah, if you agree or disagree, feel free to leave a comment. And, yeah, thank you for watching.